Listen, you have to be aware of the fact that we both hate you, right? Because we've been making it very hard on you forever now with how much we ignore and use you. Either you still haven't noticed or you must be very mentally strong then, huh? Being able to last this long with us living in the same house tormenting you all the time. Have you not noticed that the both of us have been using you this whole time and will not stop until you drop dead?
You say that the both of you have hated me. Yet I feel that our son can't be blamed for that hate, right? He's just been following in your footsteps this whole time since you've been hating me for a very long time now. You are the one that started everything, and that's why I've been having to put up with so much for the past 18 years. I don't understand, though, why you're only starting to ask me about it now. What do you plan to achieve with this?
Hey, do you really believe something like that? The inside of your head is just filled with flowers, like I'd always assumed. I didn't think you'd lost your sanity as much as you have.
My head is filled with flowers? I have been very much aware of everything for a long time now, and have put a lot of thought into the both of you. That's why I've been wanting to talk to you about some of it for a while now. But anytime I'd ask to have a chat about how you guys treat me, both of you would ignore me. Actually, you'd both ignore me all the time, no matter what it was I said. Yet when it came to things like me not cooking something well enough, you'd explode. Things have really been hell for me here.
Of course things have been. We're the ones allowing you to live with us here after all. And when it comes to your job as my wife, as his mother, you have to be perfect or else. Or else we will seriously begin to rethink your worth in this family. Although with how much you've aged both mentally and physically, you're really just getting in the way now, you old hag.
You never told me things like that in the past. Why have you started to call me an old hag now? Is this the reason why our son hasn't grown out of his rebellious phase at all yet?
Are you really saying something like that to me now? The guy has already graduated from college and is working now. Do you realize that him still being in a rebellious phase at his age makes no sense at all? He's past being in that phase a long time ago, woman.
I know that, Connor. That's why I find it very strange that he's still acting like a child. Sure, it's not rare for sons to not want to listen to everything their mom has to say to them, but he's never really been the one to get upset with me when I don't cook something perfectly for him. And instead of getting out of the house to cause trouble, he's been staying home to play video games while I did the chores. He's always been a really good kid, just with a bit of a childish side to him caused by someone else.
You only think of him that way so you don't get harmed mentally. But haven't you heard some of the things he's been saying to you along with me? You really have been such an eyesore to us, working like a slave that has never had a clue.
Calling me an eyesore and a slave now? I know. I've been used and abused as your wife for many years now. But has that been the way you've always looked at me?
I knew you never had a clue about anything. I always thought you were pretty dull and all, but but I never thought that you were so dull that you would make it this far without ever realizing that you've been getting used like a slave.
I just assumed that as long as I did my job correctly and continued to, there would never be any serious problems between us. I felt that by not fighting back against you, things would remain calm.
Yeah, you would do a lot of the chores without any flaws and would never accept any money from me, working part-time to make your own, but you never saw yourself as our slave before? And that doesn't even include the fact that you were also being made to give up some of your money to us.
Well, I guess you were forcing me to have to give up some of that money to the both of you. But I just assumed that I should since I was your wife, and that all the money we earned was meant for the whole family to use.
Wow, I really did a good job choosing you to become my slave then. And maybe being a slave to us was what you were really meant to do, right? That's your duty in this household.
I don't think...
But that life you've had as our hated slave is well over with now. Get to work unpacking all your things, please.
What? What did you just say? What did you mean by saying that to me? Hey, Connor! What is this all about, Connor? All of these suitcases in the trash bin outside. These are all... they're filled with all my things.
Oh, so you finally come around to finding all of that. I hope you had a good day at work today. Did you really think you could come back home to this house today, though? Well, that's not the case for you anymore now. Think of that as us saying that you are no longer a part of this household anymore. And as for that divorce paperwork I had you fill out and sign, I went and handed it into the courthouse today. That marks the end of my relationship to you now, which means that you and I are no longer married.
So this all really is my stuff in here? That old-fashioned mirror that I got from my grandmother long ago is also smashed to pieces. You threw that in here knowing very well it would break my heart seeing it broken, right?
Well, of course I knew it would break your heart. Until now, you had done a really good job working as my slave. I still can't believe you made it a whole 18 years living with the both of us while being hated. But I've put an end to the pathetic life of a man and his son having to live in a house where an ugly old hag was living with them every day. I had enough of you always standing around acting like you were a part of us, so I made sure to toss everything of yours. Get the hell out of town now.
All right, I'm leaving then.
I want you gone by the end of today.
Seriously, I never thought that you'd be so ruthless that you'd take things this far with me, though. This really is the end of you and I.
I've been making that pretty obvious this whole time, right? All you are is an old hag that has done nothing but work your butt off in our house while only barely being able to make enough money for yourself. I'm not sure how you'll be able to survive out there on your own, though. But you have nothing to do with me now, so I could care less if you ended up dropping dead tomorrow. Our son was also able to find himself a proper job today. That means that his and my life are now completely in the clear from here on out. We have zero use for you now.
I see. So that's why you kept me around, you guys, until today? Just needed to use me until you could be totally sure that he found a good job and wouldn't need my money anymore.
That's absolutely right. But now you and us will be nothing but strangers to one another. I don't want you to ever come around either one of us again after today. You're losing both your family and your house now, so I'm sure you'll go rot under some bridge now in despair. But since we have nothing to do with you anymore, you can't come begging for our help.
Understood, Connor. I have no plans of ever coming back to beg for help from either one of you. Therefore, this is goodbye forever.
Hey! You have to know something about this, right? My whole entire house, it's been completely bulldozed over, and there's not a single piece of it left standing. I just got home from work, and the whole place is just rubble.
Who is this?
This is not the time to be screwing around with me, you old hag. I'm your ex-husband, Connor, damn it! And right now my freaking house is gone. Did you use someone to get back at me for what happened yesterday, and that's why the house is no more? Or could I have missed something? I have no idea what's happened here or why it happened.
Aren't you and I supposed to be complete strangers to one another now? You seem to be in a lot of trouble now, and it's gotten you all wound up, To the point that you had to start texting a complete stranger about everything because you had no idea what you were doing with your hands. Compared to what you said to me yesterday, what you're doing today is the complete opposite, no?
This is not the time for you to be so carefree. My whole freaking house just got demolished before I got home. This has to be your fault, right?
Blaming me already? Even though you know nothing at all, it seems? How rude. Well, what's happened there was all a part of my plan indeed.
What? What do you mean by that?
You started to live in that house about 20 years ago, right? Which means that you've probably forgotten all about what happened back then that allowed you to live in such a place. That house belonged to me and was under my name the whole 20 years that you'd been living in it. And it was you that started to live in it without asking me for permission, yet I had no choice but to let you be. Do you not remember a single thing about what all went down back then, Connor?
Is that right? Well, even if that really was the case... Wait, so this was really your house?
Did you think that we had been renting that place the whole time? And had we, did you just think that I was the one paying all of the rent every month because you didn't have to?
Actually, I did kind of think you were paying the rent for it.
You really are the most pathetic man imaginable, Connor. But I always knew you were the worst man out there and that you just assumed the house was never mine.
What? Then does that mean you went and destroyed the house without telling me first?
I never had to tell you anything, did I? The house was my house, and that land is my land. And when it comes to my house and land, I had every right to do whatever I pleased with it, without needing to ask you for permission first. Of course, I was never going to just let you stay in my house after going and kicking me out of it without talking to me first. I originally was going to have that whole debate with you about how you needed to leave, but I assumed that would be too much trouble considering the pain in the butt you are. So the easier thing for me to do was to have it demolished by some bulldozers.
I'm not screwing around right now, woman. There's no way someone could just do that to a family's house and not feel any remorse. Have you gone completely mad now?
You think that it's me who's gone mad? I believe you meant to say that you've gone mad and needed someone to help wake you up from your wild hallucination. You were going around handing in our divorce papers without asking me about it and throwing all of my things into the trash without asking me. And way back in the day, you just came into my house and started living in it like you had the right to do so without my permission. All of that has been your wild hallucination, and you needed me to get you out of it. Did you think this all started because of me, Connor? Of course it didn't. It all started with you and that mad head you have on you.
I'm not playing around. What would have happened if my son and I were in the house still today when you had the bulldozers come? Would you just let the bulldozers go and run over a family in their home?
I knew that you guys weren't going to be home today, and that's why I went through with it. So stop your worrying. Already had the knowledge of where you'd both be covered before going ahead with my plans. I mean, I didn't want to murder two people in broad daylight today.
Huh? What do you mean by that?
I mean just what I said. I knew that you both would be going out with one other person today to that really fancy restaurant, and that's why I was able to make my move.
How did you know there were 3 of us today, though? Why do you, of all people, know about that?
You're asking me why? Because I made sure to have the investigation finished up a long time ago, Connor.
Investigation?
Last month you told me it would be best if I started to get all my things together, right? You also were trying very hard to rub it in my face that you not only hated me, but were using me as a slave and things like that. When that happened, I knew something more serious was going on behind the scenes with you. So I went and had a look at what it could be.
Excuse me? I want to know what you did, though, to find all of this out.
For the past 20 years, I've always been so busy taking care of things for you, your son, and myself. So busy, in fact, that I never had any time to think about you or notice what all was going on around me besides what I was forced to do. But when you brought those things up to me in such a way that was meant to drive a stake through my heart, I finally had my eyes opened. You were trying with all your might to get me to leave you so that you wouldn't have to struggle with me anymore. In other words, based off that motive you had, I knew there was another woman in your life.
Huh? Wait, I have no idea what you mean by that. What are you talking about?
Freaking out now and trying to hide the truth won't work. I told you that the whole investigation has been concluded on you, so it's not worth it. And today, you were a very busy man having to show our son to your girlfriend. That's why you got a reservation at that really fancy restaurant and had him and her meet there. Of course, you were also there to celebrate your divorce from me, right? Which is why the three of you had a blast there, eating and talking about how horrible of a woman I'd been.
There's no way that's what happened. I would never.
I have all the evidence I need in both video and photo form. So I'm not kidding when I say it really is a huge waste of your time coming up with those lame excuses for why you were with her today. I even have audio evidence that I had recorded. You can't run from me now.
Why would you? Did you follow us out to that restaurant or something today?
Are you kidding me? I could never do something as shameful as that. I made sure to have a pro go out and do that for me and get all the evidence I would need in order to obtain victory later on. That's why I even have evidence of the plans you had with her to go out and stay at those hotels on dates with one another.
You hired someone to stalk us? When did you do that? Was it really because of all that useless crap I said to you before that made you realize?
Yes, that's what I was saying to you just a minute or two ago. And that is why I'll now be able to take out a large chunk of your money as a settlement. Make sure to have me my lovely present ready when this divorce goes through, all right?
A settlement? Wait a sec, I just lost my damn house today!
You mean you lost my house today, right? And so what that you did? To me, none of your problems that have started to form today have anything to do with my life. Also, it was you that said this first, right? You will both lose your family and your home and will have to go live under a bridge somewhere in despair. And then you followed that up by saying that you guys would both be complete strangers to me, so I couldn't come back begging for help, right? Right?
That was...
I'm going to say the same thing back to you now, after having said that with such confidence to me. You and I are both complete strangers to one another now, so don't come back to me begging for any help.
No way! Why did I have to run my mouth like that?
I really was busy with all sorts of things back when I was married to you. But don't think that meant I never noticed how you both treated me like a complete outcast there. Of course I knew. But no matter how often I tried talking with you both, you never gave me a chance to. I tried time and time again to ask why you would do that to me, but after so many attempts, I just gave up on it entirely. You both thought you had finally gotten to me and were able to use me to do all the chores and such without ever saying a word. But really, I started to focus on something else entirely that got me to the point I'm at now.
What the hell? You're making it sound like you became enlightened or something back then, and now you're rubbing that in my face, even though you had to work your ass off making money that would go to the two of us.
Yes, that's right. The start was especially hard for me. I had to work on getting back into the groove of working after having thrown my career away to have our son. And while also having to clean for you both, cook for you both, do all sorts of menial tasks for you both. But while I was going through all that pain and heartache, you were just sitting there not having to sacrifice anything because you knew you had me as your slave. I had to sacrifice a whole lot for our son and for the both of you afterwards. And as time went on, our son grew older and my workload increased even further. You'd spend more time out of the house drinking and playing around. Then whenever you'd come home, you'd roll your eyes at all the hard work I was doing while having our son join in with you as you talked crap about me.
That was all. You're a woman, so I had no other option. As a woman, you have to make your own money, and some of that has to go to us men.
We were both having to work jobs, yet most of my money would go to you guys while I would have to do every single chore in that house. Are you just saying that all happened because you're still living in the early 20th century mentally?
What did you say?
I never really had the time to spend talking with someone who wasn't worth talking to begin with, Connor. That's why I went and sent some bulldozers over to tear down my house filled with horrors. Had I actually tried to reason with you, I would have only been creating more stress for myself. And we would have never been able to come to any sort of an agreement, so... When you went and threw out all my things like that, you went and got on my last nerve. Right after you finished talking to me about that, I went and had the land sold and the house planned for demolishing.
You thought that having such pride in a plan like that was a good thing?
Well, it worked out for me in the end, right? Look at your reality now, Connor. You just lost the place you'd been living in and will now fall into a life of deep despair, right? But there's still a chance that won't happen, right? I mean, you still have your career, and you have a new family member now. I'm going to get that settlement from you, though, so you'll be losing a lot of your money that you've been saving up. But you'll still have your career, unlike me, and a family, unlike me. So you're doing just fine compared to where I'm at right now.
My girlfriend was really looking forward to coming and living in a massive house like this, yet you went and tore it all down without my permission.
And you think your sucky situation has anything to do with me right now? If you're so worried about what she's going to think when she finds out, then why not buy your own house for her to have? I don't even understand why you think I should be feeling bad for you, when you were the one that took everything away from me.
You're a bitch, Leah. Doing something so utterly selfish as this. You really are such an unnecessary old hag. From the bottom of my heart, I know I was right for divorcing you.
And I feel the exact same way, which is just wonderful for the both of us then, right? I'm so happy I got a divorce from such a selfish man like you. Now good luck with whatever you decide to do next. After what you've done for me, I am so grateful. Not only did you help me with things like having the land under my house sold, but you got a team together to come and tear down my house today for me. You had to go through a lot of trouble in order to do such a thing for me, which I'm sure was not easy for you to accept at all. Next time, I'll make sure to treat you to whatever you'd like as my way of saying thank you.
No. A lot of this was possible thanks to all the hard work you put in, Leah. Good work today. There was a lot that had to happen for this all to work out for you, which I'm sure put your mind through large amounts of stress. You've already paid us very kindly for the work, and all of that was just a part of my job, which I was so happy to do for you.
But the fact that you were willing to do so much for me in such little time requires my deepest appreciation. I also have to thank you for introducing me to some of your best friends that helped make this possible for me. I'll have to tell Andrew thanks as well for showing you to me in the first place.
That is very true. He was the one that helped start this whole entire plan of yours by introducing the both of us. And I never thought that you'd be able to work with us so easily and have the means of buying from us like that. Whichever way one thinks about all of this, I am very thankful to have worked with you.
And I'm very thankful to have worked with you as well, Cameron. Thank you so very much for showing me this lovely new home. This is just the kind of place I was hoping for, so thank you.
I just never thought that things would come this far with you, Leah. I'm sure that now, having finished all of the plans we'd made, your ex-husband is in great shock, being handed back all that trouble he'd been giving you in one day.
Well, I'm sure he's never going to recover from it. He should have just appreciated all that I had put up with while around him. Then none of this would have ever had to go his way.
You're 100% right about that. I can't believe he even treated someone like you in such a terrible way. I mean, I have never even seen a woman as cool as you before. Having heard your story and everything you had to endure, I will be rooting for you for the rest of my life.
And thanks to your support, everything was able to work out perfectly in my favor. Through the help of keeping my husband unaware, I was able to move in the shadows, planning everything I needed to happen out. And sure, I may have lost many things along the way to here, but at least now I have freedom, and that's something I'd never want to live the rest of my life without. Of course, all of this led to me meeting you, Cameron, and that is something else I'd find far more valuable than what I lost.
Hearing you say such a beautiful thing makes me so happy. If you have any time in the near future, would you like to go out to dinner with me? Since everything we had worked on ended up going perfectly for you, I would like to take you out as a celebration for all your hard work.
Thank you so much, Cameron. And of course, I'd love to treat you to dinner as well, as a celebration for everything you contributed.
Please, Leah, come back to me, please. Things have only gotten worse for us now.
Who is this?
We do not have to play that game anymore, all right? It's me, all right? You still remember me, don't you? I'm your ex-husband, Connor. If nothing changes for me right now, then my family is gonna be completely ruined.
I see. Well, I don't care about any of that, so good day to you. By the way, the fact that you're once again trying to trouble me with your problems now, I'm blocking you.
Listen to me, please! My wife is really cute and super young, but she doesn't know how to do any of the housework here. She's also asking me all the time for money to get her skin treated and her hair done, even though she won't bother working herself. And when it comes to our son, he wasn't doing all of his required assignments at work and just got fired from that company last week. Now all he's doing is sitting in his room again playing video games and won't come out for anything besides food. I asked my wife to iron my suit one time and she destroyed it. And when she cooks, she puts way too much spice into everything. I'm starting to have troubles myself at work now because of what's been going on with my family at home. And if things do not get better, I'll be screwed for the rest of my life, too.
Good. Now you can finally see how important I was to the both of you, being able to do everything perfectly, right?
I can see that now, and that's why I need you to come back to me. Please, 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 you are important to me.
Before anything else happens here, how about you apologize to me? Actually, forget about that, because no amount of apologizing will ever get me to go back to you. I found myself a new man now, who is far better than you. And my new happy life has finally started to take off with him. Just hearing about how you're finally falling into the pits of hell has me feeling all warm and joyful again. Oh, this really is the best feeling ever. Now please continue falling until you reach the bottom of those pits. And spend the rest of your life there regretting all you've done. Due to my ex-husband's life turning to complete hell, he was no longer able to attend to all the responsibilities he had in the office and was transferred to an entry-level position there, making barely any money at all. And let's just say that's not all that would start to happen to him after I blocked his number. I then made sure to have my lawyer contact Connor and get that settlement I'd been telling him about, which I then used to pay off a large portion of my new house. Which has led to me really enjoying this new life I have now, along with my new man who, by the way, can actually cook and do some chores himself. Actually, Cameron is the man that I'm with now, and due to the fact that we've been doing so well together, I think I might just let him marry me. I'm sure he'll start bringing up talks about that really soon, but I can't let all of that get into my mind completely quite yet, as I only just got divorced. First, I need to make sure I have the life I want with him, and he's aware of my needs, before we get anywhere with something such as marriage. It is very interesting how for the past 20 years I'd been living through hell, while Connor got to enjoy having himself a slave at home who he could do whatever he wanted with. And now I'm the one that's living a wonderful life full of joy and freedom, while Connor gets to have a taste of hell. It feels fantastic that I was able to take him down so easily. And I hope he likes the taste of hell, because there really won't be any crawling back out of those deep pits. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
That lunch you made for me today was so awful that I had to throw it straight into the trash. I had to eat out once again, which cost me more of my money. Do you think you could try a little harder to be at least decent at cooking for me? Seriously, you are so bad at what you do that it's shocking me.
You threw your lunch away yet again? Well, I'm not cooking for you anymore then. You're just wasting all the ingredients I buy anyway, so you're better off without a lunch from me. I mean, I've had to give up my free time making those lunches, so I think I'll go back to using that time for my job. So from now on, you can continue eating out, please.
Huh? You are really asking your husband to start eating out for lunch now? Are you trying to say you're fine with me gorging myself on burgers and fries every day and growing unhealthy?
Did I just say that? Because what I remember just saying to you was that if you don't like what I make you for lunch, you can handle lunch on your own then. How about you start making your own lunch to bring to work? I mean, I am far more busy than you are with my work, so it only makes sense for you to handle that.
What was that? Are you trying to tell me you hate cooking for me?
I'm the one paying the loan on this house, Phil. And so far, I've been the only one getting any of the chores done around this house. Yet you continue to say I'm bad at what I do, like I'm useless to you. What's that all about, Phil?
You talking back to me like that right there is proof that you're not a good enough wife for me. Normally, a proper wife would never talk back to her husband at all, and would only speak to apologize. This is all proof that you are a terrible woman and a completely helpless wife.
Terrible woman and helpless wife? I like that you'll call me that when you're the worst person on this planet.
I should have gone with a better woman than you back then. You are no use to me and a total waste of my money.
And what exactly about me is so useless to you? Because as far as I'm aware, you can't even clean your own dishes after you're done eating, or do your own laundry when it gets all stinky. If you are really that upset with what I'm making for you, then go ahead and gorge yourself on fast food.
You don't seem to understand how much I provide for you with my income, do you?
What?
I would much rather eat out all the time instead of eat whatever slop you're cooking up. But the only way to make money in this world is by working for it. I'm already just barely making ends meet before the end of the month. So that's why I've had to struggle so long eating the crap you serve me. But today, I think I've had enough.
And if you're going to complain that much about my cooking and complain that much about spending money by going out to eat, why not just make your own food? It's really not that hard, okay?
Enough of that crap from your mouth. You really want me to start getting the divorce papers ready again? You don't seem to be very thankful for all I offer this household. So I'll hand them in to the courthouse and end you. Is that what you want me to do, Mia?
You're going on about divorcing me again? This is like the 5th time now you've threatened me with divorce. I'm the one that's paying for our house every month, yet I still haven't gotten one thank you out of you. And when we have fights like those where you begin to lose, you just pull out the divorce card to make yourself the winner? What a loser you are. I'm the one that wants you to be thankful for what I do for us for once.
I have no reason to thank you. You're a no good wife, and I want you gone.
What? You want me gone? From where? The house that I'm paying the loan off on right now?
That's right. I've already got the divorce papers in my hand right now, and am ready to hand them in.
Ugh. I am so over this. I just can't keep going at all of this with you when you're going to act like a child. Go right ahead and eat out today. You still have the money to do that, right?
I sure will go out and eat. Again. I don't even want to come home for dinner today, because I'd have to see your face. I'll leave the paperwork at home for you. So make sure you fill out your half.
When you keep talking to me like I'm nothing more than a waste of time for you, you really put out the flame of whatever love there was left for you. Be careful from now on, Phil.
Why, when I say I have no more money, are you not making me a lunch to bring to work? Are you trying to make it seem as though I have no right to eating lunch?
You complained a ton about the lunches I was making for you before, so I'm not doing it now. You hate what I make for you, right?
I saw you making your own lunch for today, but you made nothing for me to bring in? What the hell is wrong with you, Mia? Are you even my wife anymore when you do things like that?
Ugh. I'm sorry, but I don't think I am your wife anymore. But don't worry, because it's not going to be much longer before my love is completely gone. It was already pretty messed up of you to always threaten me with a divorce when you'd begun to lose the fight we had. I'm the one paying off this house, so a thank you would really help your case out right now.
I could pay for this house if I wanted to. So stop acting like you're some kind of god when you bring that up.
What? I wonder if you really could pay for this house, Phil. I think that'd actually be pretty difficult for you, but...
What are you talking about now? I could pay that loan every month and still have money left over to save up. It's only around $200 a month for this place, right?
Are you certain of that? $200 a month?
Please, you do nothing but work a small-time job and come home to slack off all day, so you barely even have enough for this house. Maybe if you actually did start cooking for me again, I'd be willing to take over for you and pay this house off as well. But I won't be able to do that now because you won't cook for me anymore, and I have to eat out every day. I'm left with no money now because you're such a useless wife, and I think that it's time you really started to understand that.
I see. So if I were to leave the house, you'd be able to handle all of this with your income?
I sure could. I'll go ahead and pull out that divorce paperwork out again if you want. You are a complete waste of my time and a total disgusting woman. That $200 a month isn't anything to me, so forget bragging about that. I'm seriously fed up with you, always talking back to me, so get the hell out of the house.
You'll become homeless, Phil. Is that what you want?
You're the only one that'll be homeless after this is all over.
No, you are the one that'll be without a home if you choose to divorce me.
And I'm the one telling you to get out of the house. You should be able to understand what I'm saying. So, get the hell out of the house right now. I'm taking that divorce paperwork to the courthouse today on my way home.
There's no need to do that now.
And why's that? Are you going to tell me that you finally don't want me to kick you out and divorce you after all? Well, if that's what you want, quit it with all that childish backtalk and start behaving like you are thankful for everything I do for you.
That's not what I meant by that. I already filled out and signed those divorce papers you had last time.
Huh?
I'm planning on handing those in for you right now, so you don't have to worry about going to the courthouse on your way home now. And actually, you won't even have to worry about coming back here. Now, I'm on my way to the courthouse to end all this fighting once and for all.
Are you actually sure you'll be able to handle all this? I can imagine it all right now. You're going to hand in those papers, and the next thing you know, you won't be allowed back into my house and will cry as you figure out that you're the one becoming homeless.
You really think that's going to be you, Phil? I'm going to warn you right now that I know you're not going to listen to what I've said, so I'm no longer going to try saving you. So like you've always been asking for, I'll leave your sight for good. However, you will probably start to regret things come next month. But you chose this outcome for yourself, so you'll have to suck it up and figure things out on your own.
Hey, what is this? The amount I'm being asked to pay this month for the loan is weird.
What's that? Why are you wanting to talk to me now?
I took a look at how much I'd be needing to pay this month for the loan on the house. The bank is asking me to pay $2,500 this month. What is this all about? They must have made some kind of mistake in their system or something, right?
So, you've finally come around to learning how much it costs to afford that house then? And I'm assuming right now your heart is beating out of your chest right now because you've had to come all the way to me to talk about this. But Phil, it's too late to be asking me about your problems now.
What do you mean too late? What is going on with the bank asking me to pay this kind of money? I have no reason to be paying this much for the loan this month. Did you end up saying something to the bank or doing something to make them charge me this much?
How would I have been able to make them hike up the price? What would I have said to them? For the past year now, I've been paying $2,500 a month for that house. Were you not aware of that?
Huh? You've been paying this kind of money?
You always told me I was a horrible wife and completely useless to you before. But I was paying $2,500 every month to the bank in order to pay off the loan on that house for us. And I had to pay all that myself because my pile of crap ex-husband couldn't be bothered with helping out.
Huh? Pile of crap ex-husband? Are you talking about me? What is wrong with you calling me something like that?
You're the frickin' idiot that thought I was paying only $200 a month for that house. I think you deserve to be called a pile of crap after what you've done to me, thinking you were some kind of god compared to me. If the loan really only required you to make payments of $200 each month, then I think you could manage that. But in reality, it's not that little of an amount. So give up, Phil. You're not going to be able to pay for that place, right?
Are you really saying that this whole time you've been paying $2,500 a month for this place? You have no reason to have been paying that much. Heck, you shouldn't have a reason to be able to afford that much. You just can't pay that with your job.
I thought you had a better understanding of all this. I bet you did know I was paying that much for the place, but chose to ignore that fact in order to make yourself look better than me. How lame, Phil. I told you a month ago that you wouldn't be able to afford the place if you kicked me out, and that you'd become homeless. I made sure to warn you of this happening, didn't I?
I remember you saying that, but I had no reason to believe you. I thought that since you were paying for the place, it would be a piece of cake to make those same payments on my own.
And that was only you thinking that would be the case, right? You didn't bother to look into what amount I was paying and instead chose to completely ignore it. Well, I already knew you wouldn't be able to pay for that place anyway, so I'm having it sold.
You're selling the house? What do you mean?
I mean, that house will be bought by someone else and they'll start living there now. I've already put the place on the market, so you'd better hurry it up and get out of there.
Huh? Why are you doing all of that without telling me? This is my house, you idiot.
This is my house? Duh. I was the one paying the loan with my name on the frickin' place. You can't even afford the house anyway.
Shut the hell up. But I've been living in it for the past month now.
You haven't been doing so legally. You can't pay for that place, so good luck paying for this month's loan. And it was never even your place to begin with, hence why I chose to have it sold. Sorry, Phil, but if you really wanted to call the place your house, then you should have co-signed on it and maybe paid for part of the loan. But since you didn't, I have the right to the place and the right to sell it when I please. My name is on it, so it's all mine.
Wait, your name's really on this house?
The fact that you didn't even know that just goes to show that you were finished from the start. It really is a mystery to me why you thought this whole time that the house was yours, and that you thought you could pay for it.
A mystery? I'm the husband of this house. Do you really think you can talk to me that way?
Oh my God. We had a divorce a month ago, remember? Let's start using that head of yours for once so that I don't have to sit here all day explaining your whole life story to you. You kicked me out of the house even though you can't afford it. And you also didn't even know that I was the one with my name on the place. So you're not going to be able to squat in that place anymore. What the hell were you thinking when you kicked me out of that house again? It was always well known that if you divorced me and kicked me out of there, you'd have hell to pay. What happened to the brain you should be using to understand all that? You leave it back at work or something?
I didn't actually think that you'd want to get a divorce from me. And I was seriously thinking that you only had to pay $200 a month for the loan on this house.
I think that was just a dream you were having the whole time or something. Maybe that's all what you told yourself so that you could keep acting like a selfish little brat.
Well, my coworker said to me that that's the amount he pays every month for his place.
You're kidding me, right? You were comparing the loan we pay off for our house to the place one of your other coworkers has? Who was it?
Sanders?
Oh, Jesus. Sanders is living in an older house in the middle of town that he's reforming, right? Also, he bought that place 10 years ago, so he doesn't have much left to pay for on that place. You made a huge mistake comparing his old house to that newly built modern home that we've been living in, you dunce. Did you also forget that I wanted to pay off the loan on the house as soon as possible, and that's why I chose that monthly rate?
Now that you mention it, I do remember agreeing to us taking out that kind of loan. But that was over a year ago now, so of course I'd forget something like that.
Forgot about something so important in less than a year. I cannot believe you right now, Phil. I want to know how you've made it this far in life when you don't have a brain in that head helping you out.
I do have a brain in my head, and I have been doing just fine. Well, who cares? I'll forgive you for what you've been doing this time.
What was that? What are you forgiving?
I'm saying you can come back and live in this house with me. I'm sure you want to make things better between us again, right? So you are allowed to come back and live in this house with me. I have always thought of you as a terrible wife, but I guess I was getting some use out of you after all.
Dang. Did you really just say that to me? Who the hell do you think's going to come back to a load of garbage like you?
Huh? Why not? I'm telling you, you can come back here to live with me. Stop playing games with me and come back home.
Hey, Phil, the way you're saying all of that to me right now is so disgusting that I just can't be serious anymore. When I said we divorced, that means you and I are divorced. Do you understand what that word means?
Huh? What are you wanting to say right now?
Dang, I don't actually know what else to say to you. I thought I made everything clear as day to you, but perhaps you just need to experience the hell you asked for in person. Just know that you're nothing more than a complete stranger to me now. I'm not coming back over there because I've already moved away, and I don't even want to have anything to do with your butt anymore. This is what you deserve, Phil. You're going to become homeless, just like I said, and you're going to like it.
Why are you saying things like that to me now? I just happened to not realize all that stuff before, right? What am I supposed to do now if you don't come back to me? I'm going to lose the house, and I'll have nothing.
You're asking me that? Go back to your office or wherever you left your brain at and put it back into your head and think of what to do yourself. I'm a stranger to you now, and that house wasn't even yours to begin with. If you really want my answer of what you should do now, I'd say just give up and go rot away somewhere that you won't cause anyone else any problems.
You and I have been together for such a long time though, Mia. Throwing me away like this out of nowhere is a horrible thing to do to me. Why don't you think a little more about how this will affect me?
I'm not going to think about you. Screw that. Who was the one constantly calling me a bad wife in the first place? Calling me a horrible woman and useless? You had all the fun you could have calling me such hurtful things without ever thinking about how it'd affect me. Well, we're nothing now, so I'm free to do whatever I want. It's amazing to think that living by myself now could be so much better than having a man like you constantly degrading me.
Mia, I'm asking you to please come back to me. I want us to go back to the life we've lived before.
You might want to go back, but I sure as hell don't. You had your chance, Phil, but you blew it very badly and will now pay the price. To think that life without you would be this wonderful was never something I had thought about before. I hope you'll have as much fun as I'm having now when you find your new home. Ah, but you don't have any money in your savings, so scrap that whole part about finding a new home. Now, would you please get lost? The pile of garbage will now have a chance to go live in the dump where he belongs. In the end, Phil was met with the reality that Mia had been telling him about for a while now. He became homeless and started to miss work a lot, resulting in him losing his job within that company. He tried so hard to get Mia to come back and help him, and even rekindle their burnt-out relationship. But Mia continued to ignore him, which soon began to work on him. At this point, Phil has started to become aware of the fact that he's a useless human that can't seem to do anything right. He even tried to send her one last message by apologizing for all the terrible things he'd done, but Mia left him on red again. And ever since that text, he's not said another word to her. Without a home to live in, nor a job to make some money from, I'm not really sure how Phil is going to get by. Right now, he just wanders the streets at night, eating from the trash cans, and during the day sleeps under bridges to try and gain some energy again. It seems that the childish and selfish ex-husband has finally met the depressing fate he was always destined for.